Hello and welcome to something different for my channel. This is a ball review for newer or less technically inclined or interested bowlers to help you understand what a ball does without confusing or boring you with a bunch of details. I have more detailed and in-depth videos if you're interested, but for now I'm going to try to explain what the ball's doing without getting too heavy. We're bowling on a regular league pattern, nothing fancy. The lanes here feel like medium oil. It's not slick and it's not really dry, and while there's some forgiveness, the pattern doesn't let us get away with that much. The Phaze 5 is what most people think of when they say pearl or skid snap. What they mean is that they want something that's going to easily glide down the lane and then hook sharply into the pins. The core in the Phaze 5 is symmetric, but it's a strong one, so it's going to help the ball spin faster, which will help it roll stronger. The shell or cover stock or the outside of the ball is medium grip or traction or strength, but it's very responsive, so it's going to slide easily in the oil and then hook sharply when it hits the dry boards. Because it's medium strength overall, it'll be a good ball for most people on most regular league conditions. If you have a lower rev rate, it'll help give you a strong move on the back end for some extra power, but because it's also medium strength and very controllable for how firm it is on the back end, it's not going to force you to move inside to get it down the lane. That's usually a problem for straighter bowlers. When they get something with the right amount of back end strength to help them at the pins, it's usually also strong enough that it's difficult to get down the lane, so it forces them to move inside, and then they're right back at square one. For bowlers with bigger rev rates or that hook it more, it's not something that's too strong or too dynamic for them to throw. It's something that they'll be able to use throughout a league set because it seems to be very good from all over the lane. It's strong enough to start the night with, but also good on transition or as the lanes break down, so you might not have to bring as many balls to league with you. Comparing it to other balls in the SPI lines, the recently released Wolverine Dark Moss is similar, but the core is moderately weaker, so the Dark Moss doesn't hook quite as much, but is about a similar shape and back end strength. It's got that same firm but kind of rounder look on the back end. The Dark Moss is a good option to go to if the Phaze 5 starts hooking too early because, again, the core is weaker, so it wants to get further down the lane before starting to rev up, and the cover or shell is virtually the same, so similar overall reaction, just a little less of it for when the lanes start to dry out. Compared to the Zen, the cores are very similar, but the Zen has a stronger shell or cover, so it has more overall hook, but the back end strength is about the same. Since it has more traction or grip, it wants to start hooking faster or sooner than the Phaze 5. So if you get the Phaze 5 out and like how it's reacting, but it's not quite strong enough, the Zen would be a good ball to move to for a similar reaction but more hook. Most of the time, freshly oiled lanes feel kind of sensitive, so the Zen is a good ball to start with in league because it has more hook in the oil, which also makes it smoother on the dry boards, so it's more forgiving. If the Phaze 5 looks okay on strength, but seems a little inconsistent on fresh lanes, the Zen would be a good ball to change to in that situation. Compared to the Phaze 3, it has the same core as the Phaze 5, of course, but the shell or cover is more similar to the Zen. The Phaze 3 feels a little longer and sharper than the Zen, but it's close enough that it's kind of splitting hairs. For whatever reason, I match up a lot better with the Phaze 3. It'll be one of the first balls I drill when I get back into bowling righty, but it's a little too strong and sharp to use much on the left side. However, similar overall idea as the Zen, it's a step up from the Phaze 5 in terms of hook or grip, but fairly similar motion. When it comes to the Phaze 4, technically they're the same ball on paper, but the different colors make it react somewhat differently. The Phaze 5 rolls and revs faster, the Phaze 4 doesn't spin up quite as fast, and then it's a little jerky on the back end, which I thought made it inconsistent for me. For Angel, it's earlier rolling, but a little sharper on friction. The Phaze 5 is longer and a little rounder or smoother. The Phaze 5 is of course available now. It's a very simple reaction that will be good for the majority of people for their weekly leagues and as a transition ball on some sport patterns. Hopefully this was a little easier to understand and get through than some of my other videos. It's hard for me to simplify stuff. Thanks as always, of course, to my outstanding Patreon members and great Discord community. Thank you for watching, and may the strikes be with you.